Hello, hello. This is Voice Notes from the Chrysalis, my 21 episode podcast where I share all the golden nuggets that I've discovered from being deeply transformed over the past 5 years in celebration of my digital course launching Discover Yourself. Welcome back. Oh, and today we are talking about how we can't be too serious, how the most spiritual thing you can do is to have fun and to play. And this is going off of inspiration really from The Artist Way. And if you haven't read that book, like, please do. It was so life-changing. I can't even describe to you how life-changing it was. But there's a premise in that book talking about how we are all creatives. Everyone is creative. Either you are a stuck creative or you are just a normal creative. And it doesn't matter if you are creating a spreadsheet, creating a play, writing a story, creating like hosting a party, creating a space for your friends to gather. Like, it literally doesn't matter what you're creating. You're creating a family, like, literally, it doesn't matter. We are all creatives. And in the artist's way, your creative is your inner child. And the way that if you are any way stuck in your creativity, the way you heal your creative is by healing your inner child. And that can be a whole topic in and of itself, is like inner child work and healing. But in the context of the artist's way and this idea of not taking life too seriously, and how sometimes even when we are going through a huge, deep, and dark transformation, honestly, the best medicine is getting out of our head and being creative and playing and doing things that are low stakes and are just for the experience of making stuff. Playing with Play-Doh, coloring, running through the park, frolicking in a field, throwing a ball with somebody. Like, literally the things that we would do as kids, making mud pies, like face painting, like, yeah, just making things for the sake of making them and not worrying about if what we're making is good or bad, or if it meets a certain standard, if it's good enough to share. Like, literally just take out a piece of paper and scribble, like create literally anything, and to like and follow that what that inner child wants you to do. So one of the practices in the artist way is a weekly artist date. The way the author instructs you to do this is to imagine what your inner child would want to do with a Saturday afternoon. And for me, that looks like walking in the park, setting up a little picnic, getting out a sketchbook, maybe sketching whatever's around me or just an idea in my head, and not worrying about what it looks like. Literally just like drawing what I see and not worrying about if it's in perfect perspective and if the colors are right and all of that. Like, just making it and then going and getting ice cream. Like, that is a typical artist date for myself. And I feel like this is so life-giving and important when we are being transformed, because all the parts of ourself are always within us. We always have our 5-year-old that we can tap into. We always have our 10-year-old self that we can tap into. And we also have the angsty teenager and the angry college kid. At least that was me. Angry, repressed college kid. We have every version of ourself within us to tap into and ask for help and guidance. And our inner child, like my inner 6-year-old, 8-year-old, oh, is one of my favorite versions of myself. Like, just so pure and happy and playful and imaginative, like creativity to the max. Like, literally, like the people that I grew up around assumed that I would be an artist. And that gives me an edge when we're talking about play, creativity, inner child work, being an artist, creating things. It helps that I had that identity, that label placed on me growing up. But no matter who you are, if you grew up being like, I'm going to be a doctor, and then everyone was like, oh, they're going to be a doctor, and you went to school and you go do the thing, I guarantee you that you're All of your research on being a like from being a doctor tells you that you need to have hobbies and you need to have fun and like the value of not being a responsible adult for just a minute and not a destructive, unresponsible adult, but a free kid. And especially for people like me who didn't get to have the childhood that we wanted and deserved, I now get to give little Avalon, you know, a little bit of free reign with my adult money, a little bit of free time to do whatever the hell she wants. And it is so good and healing, and it is not just good for little Avalon. It is good for me. It is good for everything that I create. And this is a challenge now. I'm going to challenge you. Next time you feel stuck, especially in the transformation in the trenches, and you're just like you're in that contraction and you feel so stuck and you don't know what to do, what to not do, get out a sketchbook and literally scribble and then step away and come back with another color and like make a shape. Like, like you imagine like making um like making pictures in your mind of like based on the cloud shape. What is that called? I'm like struggling with, but imagining like assigning shapes and subjects to the clouds. Do that with your scribbles. You could also, ooh, I love this activity where you put on a song. I I think it's fun with a classical song because there's so many layers of like harmony and beats and rhythms and things happening in classical music usually. Um, so put on like a classical song and make scribbles based on the music. Could be like you're conducting in the air, but just scribbling on the paper. It could literally like whatever movement sound matches the music, do that. And then you have this physical scribble and cut it up into little pieces of paper and make a collage with it. Like do it with different colors. Like just make something like the macaroni art that we made in kindergarten, make that. And then check in with yourself afterwards and ask yourself, do you feel the same level of stuck? Do you feel the same level of friction and contraction? And maybe nothing has changed. But I have never done something intentionally loose, like loose creativity and play like that, and I have never come out on the other side like unchanged for the better. It's kind of like working out. We, it's like working out. I have never regretted a workout. I mean, maybe we regret workouts if we injure ourselves, but like, a typical workout, do you ever regret doing it? I don't. I don't. So I invite you really to take the idea of whatever it means to not be so serious and do that and see where that takes you. Because while what we're talking about is like big, deep, heavy stuff, some of it's existential, but really all of this includes the playfulness, the joy, the lightness of life. So, and while I've been talking a lot about Discover Yourself, my course, which is extremely powerful, and I can't say that it's light and fluffy because it is a transformative process. Like I'm not gonna lie to you about that. It's transformative, for the better, but it is not light and fluffy. But something that is also transformative, but a little bit lighter, that I would highly recommend is my free guidebook called Into 2026, Your Year End Portal. And it is a process to acknowledge everything that has happened in the past year, write out everything you want to leave behind, which is very cathartic, and then envision who you want to be a year from now and the life that you want to be living. And then you get to take out your planner and plan out just the baby steps to start to make that happen. I Highly recommended. I even include the wintry playlist that I listen to because I usually do this process on the winter solstice. But it is free to you. Check out the show notes. I highly recommend it. And then it can be such a beautiful, playful process. Oh, and it has changed my life year after year after year. I have always become the person that I set out to be. In one December, by the time I get usually to November, I'm like, I did it. I did it. I am that person. I have that life. It is so, so powerful and it's free. So like, why not? Go get it. Yay! Thank you so much for being here and I'll see you next time.